Tobee Parkhurst. This is my For the Krew magazine cover from 2008. It's been a while since I've seen this thing. This was a Western Mass on the border between Southwick and Westfield. It's an old TV tower. And what I think happened was that they replaced the satellite dish. And so they had the old satellite dish just kind of like sitting there on the side. And my best friend, Adam Clarke, found the spot hiking with his kid and brought us up there. And we went back. You have to kind of climb a mountain to get to the top of it. It's literally at the top of a mountain. So we climbed up there. It's a paved road. It's like all these switchbacks to get up there. And then, but by the time you get to the top, you're smoked, right? Like, it's such a long walk. So to get this thing up here, we had to manhandle it, and we were using these pieces of wood to kind of like push it up. There's all these like ribs there, and you can kind of push it.
Right.
The thing was probably like 8 or 9 feet wide and concave this way and also obviously that way.
Yeah.
And then to actually get it up on the tree, he actually winched it up there. And it kind of bent it. It was kind of crazy. Getting it up there was like, I want to say, one of the hardest parts. And you had to ollie on.
Okay, so there was
at the bottom.
There was gravel that you could, or pavement that you could push and
then
ollie up to it.
And if I remember, it's actually a little bit of a downhill runway, but it was rough. Yeah. So you kind of run and throw down, a couple of hard pushes, and then you got to ollie early, but you want to, because it kind of bottoms out, you'd have to try to land at the top of this. So it was definitely like, probably the riskiest part was getting ollieing on with the speed. And then the funnest part was, you go up there and you do the trick or whatever, and ollieing out was like a really mellow, fast curb cut.
Okay.
But there was no way to launch less than like 8 or 9 feet, not high, but out off the end of it. So Bill Colburn shot the photo. I can remember we hiked up there and like trying to get the sunset. I probably honestly landed it 4 or 5 or 6 times that day. Like at that point we'd skated it a bunch, and obviously it was a little tricky because the tree is kind of in the middle, had to be over on the side. But obviously, like, great photo. He did an incredible job. And it's funny, 2008 was the year that I sort of gave up on skateboarding and moved back to Maine. So it was kind of cool, like, what the things you want out of skateboarding when you take it seriously, right? You want to cover. And so this is your most random dude cover discussion of the most random magazine.
Tobee Parkhurst, Unspoken Truth. There we have it.
There you go.
Classic covers I always like to ask guys about. Do you remember anything that stands out in your mind growing up?
I have 2, and I think probably that's because it's funny. I should have known this question was coming, but 2 that stick out. One is Donny Barley switch hard flip Santa Monica triple set. And one reason for that was that I was in that same magazine. Okay. And I was with him. He probably doesn't remember this, but I was with him when he saw it.
Right.
And I can remember being so excited that I was in the magazine, but it was really hard to be like, oh yeah,
look at me.
Page 87, like I got a clip in there too. But I can remember him like talking about it and just feeling like it was so cool. Like, obviously I wasn't there when he did it. We weren't super close friends or anything, but like, I knew the Element wanted that for an ad, and he was like, no, fuck that. If I'm gonna get the cover, I want to get the cover,
Hell yeah.
So that one always sticks out to me just because of that moment. And then the one that, as a kid, I was always really hyped on, and somebody who I, always was hyped on with skating and later became a friend, the classic Trans World Kris Markovich kickflip. And I can remember being when Ted Newsome was living in New York.
Down Carlsbad.
Yeah. Down Carlsbad, what did I say?
You didn't say
They kickflipped down Carlsbad. Yeah. And I remember when Ted Newsome was living in New York, he was doing the New York Minute, I was at his house, and I asked him about that cover because it was such my favorite thing as a kid. And I remember thinking that was so cool that it was like, Kris was actually kind of bummed on it, I guess. Like
did they color it all over?
Yeah, no, he colored it. He was just hanging out at Trails World, which is what you did.
Didn't expect it was going to be used on the cover.
Right. Back then, you'd just go to the magazine and hang out, and they'd print all the black and white stuff, and he was just hanging out there at Trans World one night, I guess. I shouldn't be telling the story. He already has, but he colored it and it came out. I thought it was the sickest thing, but he wasn't super psyched on it. This is obviously famous, like Rob Dyrdek always talks about it and stuff. But I remember as a kid just being really excited about that cover as well.
Awesome. Yeah, excellent. I think that about covers it, Tobee. Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Did I have anything else in this magazine? There we go.
Little interview.
Oh shit.
Where's that?
That's New York.
Okay. Oh.
It's Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
That's New York too. God, I forgot about this stuff.
Okay.
Oh, there's the Ollie Fakey photo on
rad.
that. Cronan shot that one.
Okay, so a second trip.
This was sick, actually. This day, we were there with Cronan, Donny Barley, and Eric Pupecki, of all people. And I can remember, like, Donny showing up with this guy and being like, that guy looks like Eric Pupecki. And then him introducing himself as Eric and being like, oh my God, it's Eric Pupecki, like from Menace. So he was there that day. Really cool dude. That's another good one.
Excellent.
Thanks, Kevin. That was fun.